The hook, the first piece of 30-second marketing, is actually the way you brand yourself. There are 3 ways to do that. Those 3 ways are fairly straightforward. First is the unforgettable title. Second is the beloved benefit. And third is the shock style connector. Now, for starters, having a title that's memorable will just do that for you. For instance, I can give you a couple that have worked for folks in the past. One of them was Captain Crunch, which was for a CPA. Hard to forget a guy that calls himself Captain Crunch. Early on in my career, I used the Networking Ninja, which again is kind of hard to forget and makes you think about somebody who really knows how to do networking. Once you start into the benefit idea, this is closer to what people, well, I guess you would say they call this sort of thing an elevator speech. And I'm going to take a moment here to do an editorial. Get rid of it. The whole idea of an elevator speech gives people the willies. Doing it bothers enough people, but hearing it's even worse. The thing is, people do not want to hear a commercial. They want to have a conversation. And so years ago, I came up with this idea that what if we made this a conversation? And I call that 30-second marketing. Well, of course, the first piece of that is the hook. And we were talking about hooks and how those brand you. So let's talk about that benefit idea. Let's suppose that you're a company that does a very simple thing. You've taken the idea of all the water testing that goes on, and you've digitized that idea in an industry that's never had that capability. Never. So how do you tell people what it is that you do? Basically, what you tell them is, we take the paper out of having fresh water. Let's go on and look at another possible benefit. These are some folks that do something that most people don't think is possible. They've identified themselves as mind benders. What they do is make it possible for you or any of your people, your employees, your affiliates, your whoever, to find a way to change their minds to get them over stress, drug addiction, and all kinds of things. That's a benefit that people can use. And it's a benefit that people want to hear about. Now, the third option. Sometimes you have to be confrontational. Sometimes you have to shake people up. You have to hit them with something. Let me give you a couple of examples. The first example was when I was doing a presentation on 30-second marketing. And we were doing table exercises, and we were sharing what we came up with for a hook. And one lovely lady, gray-haired, sitting back on that side of the room, stood up and said, "I'm a marketing whore." But then she went on to say that she had worked in multiple organizations and had great rave reviews from all of her previous bosses, and that she was now currently looking for a job. Another one that I think possibly is one of the funniest I've ever heard. This lady arrived early, and I said, "So what brought you out early?" She said, "Well, I wanted to check with you because I know what we're going to be doing today." She said, "I wanted to check with you and make sure it was okay if I said something." I said, "What's that?" And she said, "I traffic in human flesh." Needless to say, I was a little perturbed, and I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Yes, actually, I'm an attorney, and we help people with adoption." You know, felt good. She said, "Would it be all right if I did that during the course of the..." I said, "Oh, yes, do it. This is going to be fun, right?" So as we were going around the room, she stood up and said, "I traffic in human flesh." You could have heard a pin drop 3 states away. I mean, people were just aghast, right? And I said, "Hold it. Go on and explain why." Well, she did. At the end of the day, she came by and tapped me on the shoulder. I said, "Yes, what's up?" She said, 2 people came up and asked me for some help." The moral of that story, and a lot of stories like this, is that no matter what you do, If you have a memorable way for people to understand what it is that you do, they're going to come back to you because they're going to remember you. And in today's world, that is gold.